You go straight ahead, and you make the left over the bridge.
That's a lovely accent you have. New Jersey?
When was the last time a comedy movie was a cultural event? Not a Marvel movie with jokes, not an action film with funny one-liners, an actual sit in a theater and laugh until you cry comedy. 2012's Ted? Bridesmaid in 2011? We're reaching back over a decade here, folks. Meanwhile, in 2002, you couldn't escape comedy. Austin Powers, American Pie, Zoolander, Mr. Deeds, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Love them or hate them, they were everywhere. Every month, a new classic dropped that became a cultural event. We had memes before we even called them memes. So what exactly happened? Did we all just collectively decide to stop laughing? No. The comedy movie genre didn't just disappear. It was the victim of a multi-pronged attack that left it gasping for air. And today, we're going to be the detectives on the case. Let's rewind to the beginning. In the beginning, there was laughter. Cinema was brand new, and before movies could even talk, pioneers like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton spoke a universal language. A slip, a fall, and a perfectly timed slap. Comedy was baked into the DNA of cinema. At that point, Charlie Chaplin wasn't just a movie star, he was the movie star. Buster Keaton was doing stunts that would make modern action heroes look like cowards. Harold Lloyd was literally hanging off buildings for laughs. And the thing is, silent comedies had to be funny. You made people laugh or you failed. Simple as that. Then talkies arrived, and comedy exploded, giving us genre-bending satire like the Marx Brothers, Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello. You've got Marilyn Monroe, Jerry Lewis, Peter Sellers. These guys were massive. Comedy was now sophisticated and wildly successful.
Would you welcome Jerry Lewis?
There, glittering on the screen, I can see my town.
And for 40 years, comedy was the heartbeat of Hollywood. And then, the golden era. The time period most people think of when they say comedy movies. The 70s and 80s gave us Mel Brooks, Monty Python, Airplane, Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America. These movies pushed boundaries and started to define pop culture.
This woman has to be gotten to a hospital.
A hospital? What is it?
It's a big building with patients, but that's not important right now.
The 90s unleashed the SNL to superstar pipeline, with titans like Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey dominating the box office. With R-rated, endlessly quotable, event-level comedies like Dumb and Dumber, Home Alone, Groundhog Day, Liar Liar, there's too many to mention. You bought the DVDs. You watched them over and over. You even quoted them at school. And then, the early 2000s hit the absolute jackpot. 2004 alone gave us Anchorman, Dodgeball, Mean Girls, Napoleon Dynamite, and Shaun of the Dead, all in 1 year. 2005, Wedding Crashers, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. 2007, Superbad, Knocked Up. 2009, The Hangover made $467 million on a $35 million budget. I'm sure you get the point. Comedy was invincible, unstoppable, printing money. It felt like it would last forever. And then, it all just stopped. So, what happened? How did the comedy movie genre die? Let's start with the big one, the Netflix binge. Streaming was supposed to be a better alternative to renting out movies at a store like Blockbuster. But there's one crucial aspect that was overlooked. Remember what I said about laughing in a packed theater? Laughter is contagious. It's a communal experience. A joke that gets a 6 out of 10 chuckle at home gets an 8 out of 10 in a packed theater. Streaming changed that. Suddenly, the primary place to watch a mid-budget comedy was alone, on your couch, while scrolling through your phone. The movie has to work a lot harder to make you laugh when you're not surrounded by 200 other people doing it. For studios, it became an easy out. Instead of risking a theatrical bomb, they could just sell the movie to Netflix for a guaranteed payday. And Netflix just pumped out comedy specials and rom-coms like they were printing money, because they were cheaper, faster, and good enough to pass off as content to fill their ever-growing library. With the rise of streaming came the rise of the social media brain.
He would buy Instagram for $1 billion.
The social networking site Twitter is going public.
Vine, the looping 6-second video app.
Most recently with Snapchat Stories, with
Social media platform TikTok.
In the 2000s, we had a monoculture. Most people watched the same TV shows, listened to the same radio stations, and saw the same movies. So when a comedy came out, everyone got the references. With the rise of social media, new subcultures started to rise. People with different interests could go build their own communities and share things that they were passionate about, which is great and all. But we don't share a cultural language anymore. It started with Vine's 6-second loops, evolved into Instagram stories, and was eventually perfected by TikTok. The infinite scroll of short-form content has fundamentally changed how we consume comedy. Algorithms that know exactly what makes you laugh. A 90-minute comedy movie requires setup, character development, callbacks, and payoff. It's a slow burn. You need to meet the characters, understand their world, invest in their journey before the big laughs hit. On TikTok, you can experience 100 different comedic premises in the time it takes to watch the opening credits of a movie. Movies can't compete with an algorithmically curated feed of the funniest moments from millions of creators worldwide. Why would a young audience commit 90 minutes and $15 to a movie when they have an infinite stream of comedy tailored specifically to them for free in their pocket? They're structurally incompatible with that attention span. And then came the men in capes. Around 2008, an indie movie called Iron Man came out and changed everything. Superhero movies went from being a nerdy niche to the only thing Hollywood seemed to care about. They are billion-dollar behemoths. They redefined what it meant to be successful at the box office. They had $500 million budgets and needed to make triple that just to break even. But the real issue here is, superhero movies actually started being funny. Don't believe me? Thor Ragnarok is a buddy comedy in space. Guardians of the Galaxy is a heist comedy with a talking raccoon.
Don't call me a raccoon!
I'm sorry. I took it too far.
Even the serious Marvel movies have more jokes per minute than most actual comedies. Audiences could essentially get their explosions and their laughs in one ticket. The problem is, those aren't really comedies. They're action movies with funny moments. And when everything is a little bit funny, nothing is truly hilarious. And at this point, the audience barely knows the difference. Superhero movies had set the new standard in Hollywood, and their biggest international market was our friends all the way in the East.
China. 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 China.
Big action spectacles translate universally. A giant robot punching a giant monster is cool in any language. A car chase in Chinese is the same as a car chase in English. But comedy? That's a different beast. A callback to a 90s sitcom means nothing to international audiences, if they've never seen it. So much of it relies on cultural nuance, wordplay, and references that just don't translate. Try explaining a "that's what she said" joke through a dub. It's impossible. Studios, desperate for that sweet international box office money, started prioritizing films that could play well in massive markets like China, where censorship is also a huge factor. A movie that makes $100 million in the US and $500 million internationally is a bigger success than one that makes $200 million domestically and nothing abroad. Why make a movie that only works in English-speaking countries when you can make a superhero movie that prints money everywhere? And just like that, comedy started to become a niche domestic product. And then the nail in the coffin. Comedy is the most subjective genre, and the internet made that a nightmare with cancel culture. It's not that you can't make jokes anymore. You can. Comedians do it every night. It's that studios are risk-averse cowards, terrified of the backlash if a joke lands wrong. In the 2000s, an edgy joke in Tropic Thunder was just part of the movie. Today, that same joke would spark a week of online discourse, think pieces, and brand apologies. The fear of this has created a culture of risk aversion. Why gamble on a script that might get you canceled when you can make a safe, inoffensive film? Just listen to what Ricky Gervais has to say.
There's Oxbridge comedians writing for the posh papers, thinking of the rules of comedy. They're laying it down, laying down the law, right? It's all stuff like, comedy should punch up. You should never punch down. You should never punch down. Sometimes you've got to punch down, like if you're beating up a disabled toddler. You know what I mean? I like that joke because it highlights the difference between metaphorical punching down in jokes and actual punching down. But people nowadays want you to believe that words are actual violence, right? Now,
and it has become a creative minefield for big budget productions. So how do you make a comedy that appeals to everyone? You don't. Gen Z humor is different from millennial humor, which is different from Gen X humor. And they're all online, loudly disagreeing about what's funny. You can't make a great comedy by asking, who might be upset by this? Great comedy comes from truth, discomfort, and taking risks. But Hollywood stopped taking risks, and comedy died in the process. Okay, so comedy movies are dead. What's next? Well, the twist is the comedy movie genre isn't truly dead, it's just been reborn. And the very thing that helped kill it might just be its salvation. Look at the comedians and creators on TikTok, on YouTube, on podcasts. They're building their own audiences, their own studios, their own rules. Danny and Michael Philippou of Raka Raka with the hit Talk to Me. Chris Stuckman with Shelby Oaks. Even everyone's favorite Markiplier producing Iron Lung. They're bypassing the risk-averse Hollywood system entirely. We're most likely not going back to the Judd Apatow era, but we're moving forward into something new. Think about it. Bo Burnham went from YouTube to a critically acclaimed filmmaker. Awkwafina went from viral rapper to Golden Globe winner. Pete Davidson went from internet comedian to leading man. Yeah, you heard that right. The barrier to entry has essentially been reduced. The next great comedy movie might not be a movie at all. It might be a YouTube special, a self-produced indie hit, or something we haven't even conceived of yet. The gatekeepers are gone. The form is changing. And while I'll always miss those McLovin days, maybe the future of comedy is more democratic, more creative, and ultimately even funnier. We'll just have to scroll and see. If you made it this far, congrats! And I'd appreciate it if you subscribe so you don't miss my next video.